Well, households could feel the pinch of several price hikes this year, even as economists expect a slowdown on major interest rate rises. Joining me now is One Big Switch campaign director Joel Gibson. Joel, thanks for your time. Tell me, what are some of the price hikes that people will be looking at this year, and how can people best prepare?
Sure. Look, I think after the year we've had, people have become accustomed to the cost of everything, just about everything going up. And unfortunately, there's going to be a bit more of that in 2023. Certainly energy prices, electricity and gas are forecast to rise by about the same as they did last year. It's about another 20 to 25%. On our power bills on average. And so that's going to add hundreds of dollars to the average household budget. Obviously, we're still probably not done with interest rate rises. It depends which economist you ask, but look, a survey of 30 of the top economists in the land on the front page of the Financial Review today has found that the sort of median prediction is that we might see two more rate rises in February and March, and then a year of rates remaining at that elevated level before they start to come back down again, possibly in March 2024. So anyone with a mortgage is going to feel the pinch this year, particularly as they come off, millions of Australians come off those really, really low fixed rates that were offered during the pandemic and are now expiring by the day. And those rates are going to go from 2% up to about, as high as 6.5%, even 7% in some cases. So we've already added about $10,000 to the cost of an average mortgage in the past year, and there's probably a bit more to go on top of that as well. And then groceries, we've had 9% grocery inflation in the last quarter alone. That's going to come off a little bit. We'll see lower grocery inflation according to forecasts, but probably 5 or 4% in this quarter, and then gradually dropping back down to around 2% by the end of the year, according to forecasts that I've seen.
And the energy bills, energy prices have really been impacting households in this past year, and that's likely to continue this year. What can people be doing at home to save money around the house?
I think some of these strategies were maybe a luxury in the past, but a lot of households are going to have to do something to get these costs under control this year. So the obvious one with your energy bills is if you're in most states, you can switch providers and plans to save money, and there's still hundreds of dollars difference between the most expensive and the cheapest plans. For example, I had a look this morning and found you can still get plans that are 10% below the government's benchmark, what they call the reference price, and are fixed until the middle of the year. So if you can get a fixed rate deal that's 10% less than the government's benchmark price, that looks like a pretty good deal at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how long those deals hang around for. I suppose that'll depend partly on how successful the government's energy package announced just before Christmas is in getting a rein on power prices this year. Traditionally, they go up around the middle of the year in most states, but we're already seeing out of cycle rate rises on gas plans, for example, in Victoria this month and next of up to 25% in some cases from some of the big retailers. So it's going to be a kind of constant exercise, I suppose, keeping an eye on the inbox, making sure you know what your providers are doing, being prepared to move for a better plan if you get a big price hike, and just kind of playing the market to the extent that we can. And obviously using less energy is the other way that people can save. And in those states where you can't switch, that's really your only option, is to use less and tap every single government rebate and concession that might be available to you. And some of those will increase this year as well as part of the government's energy package.
Yeah, everyone will really start to look at what they're using around the home. Looking at petrol prices, how can people save when they go to fill up?
There's actually a little bit of positivity around the forecast for petrol prices, just because last year was such a tough year for fuel prices. I mean, the average price of Brent crude was around $99 a barrel last year. Reuters has just published in the last couple of days a monthly forecast that suggests the average price in 2023 could be about $10 less than that. Now, that'll flow through, if it's true, if it happens, flow through to our retail fuel prices, and hopefully we'll see more prices under $2 and over $2 this year, unlike last year where we saw them reach as high as sort of averages, national averages of $2.15. And I think we've now got these fuel price apps in most states. We've got Victoria is a holdout for some reason. ACT's a holdout, but in most states, state governments and territory governments have forced fuel retailers to share regularly, every 15 minutes or so, their pricing data with these app developers. And you can, before you pull out of the driveway now, you can check who has the cheapest fuel in your area, sometimes save yourself even sort of 40, 50 cents a litre by going to petrol station number 1 as opposed to station number 2.
Some fantastic advice. Joel Gibson, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks.